7 levels of NFL addiction. Let's get into it.
Today I'm breaking down the 7 levels of NFL addiction, which of course is the journey that transforms innocent bystanders who know nothing about football into the kind of people who cry real tears when the third string running back on their favorite team gets injured in week 18 of a lost season. Let's just start where it all begins. Level 1, the football virgin.
No, not that.
Every NFL addict has an origin story, and for most of us, it starts with emotional terrorism from a family member. If you were like me, you were minding your own business as a child when your dad decided to pass down his generational trauma in the form of fandom to you. My dad literally named me after Troy Aikman, and then
That is sad. That is sad. Troy Aikman. Yeah, my dad wanted me to be a Raiders fan. Ended up being Seahawks.
tried to force me to watch the Cowboys, a team that's been ass for my entire life. Maybe your story's different. Maybe it was your uncle who dragged you to a freezing cold stadium in December. Or maybe it was your mom screaming at the TV during Thanksgiving dinner. Or it could even be that friend who wouldn't shut up about fantasy football until you finally caved and joined one of their leagues. The thing that ties us all together is that you didn't choose the NFL. It chose you. At this stage, you know close to nothing about football, and you're asking questions like, what's a first down? And why is it that that guy keeps putting his hands underneath that other guy's butt crack before the play starts? Your friends and family are constantly trying to explain basic rules to you while simultaneously having emotional breakdowns over referee calls that you don't understand. They're screaming about holding while you're still just trying to figure out why it is that these guys are wearing pants that are way too tight. But don't worry about the rules right now because none of it matters. What's really important is that you've been exposed. The virus is in your system. Welcome to NFL fandom. Level 2, the casual fan.
Okay.
Something shifted. Maybe it was just one incredible play. Maybe you won your first bet. Maybe you just got tired of being the only person at the party who has literally no idea what's going on. The important thing is that now you have a team and you have people to root for. Usually, like I said, it's inherited and passed down like a genetic disease from
Let's say I've been watching football since like heavily 2015, 2014. Seahawks winning the Super Bowl. Heavily. So from that point on, I've been watching it, and I'm deep into fantasy football and betting. So
father who got it from his father and results in an endless cycle of disappointment and false hope.
That
Or
is
maybe you're
sad.
like me and thought that you could outsmart the system. Like I said earlier, my dad tried to infect me with Cowboy fandom, but I said no. I'm going to choose my own team. And I randomly chose the Minnesota Vikings because nothing says I'm my own person like choosing a team who will also disappoint me for years to come. Either
chose
way,
the
at this level,
Vikings?
you've given yourself a reason to care. Whether you inherited your dad's team or rebelled against it, you're now emotionally
Sam Darnold
invested in
can
the
do better with
success of
us.
millionaires who don't know you exist. You're slowly but surely starting to understand the rules of football, and you kind of get what's going on now. You're also starting to recognize big names around the league. You might even start to develop your own opinions on quarterbacks, even though
You don't
those
know
opinions are
Mahomes
usually
by
just
now?
whatever ESPN told you to think that week. You're no longer wondering what a touchdown is, you're just wondering why is that your team can't score one. And what might be the most important thing is that you're starting to feel real emotions during games, even though those emotions are sometimes just mostly confusion and mild frustration. At this stage, you've also probably added a few football terms to your vocabulary, and you might even use football metaphors in real life, usually incorrectly. Whether you consciously know it or not, you're starting to plan around NFL games. When someone suggests Sunday plans, a small voice whispers in the back of your head, but the game's on Sunday. In the following levels, that voice is about to get a whole lot louder. Level 3, the tipping point.
what is this?
This is where that casual fandom really starts to turn into full-blown addiction. There's no single moment, but suddenly you
gets worse
realize
than
you
this?
crossed a line that you can never come back from. For some, it starts with fantasy football. Just one league, you said to yourself. Now you're watching the
5.
2 worst teams in the league play on Thursday Night Football because you need 7.3 points from your flex receiver. Or maybe it was when you started playing the game yourself. I started playing Pop Warner at 10 years old, and suddenly football wasn't just something I watched, it was the only thing that I could think about. However you ended up getting to this tipping point, the symptoms are all the same. You're not just watching your team anymore, you're watching everyone. Red Zone on Sunday has become your new religion. You're starting to know the names of backup running backs on teams you couldn't even find on a map. You have opinions on offensive coordinators, and really, you don't even know what an offensive coordinator does. You no longer think of the week as Monday to Sunday. Your week now starts on Thursday because of Thursday Night Football and ends after Monday Night Football, and Tuesday and Wednesday are just the days that stand between you and the next days of football. Your
Friday,
non-football
too.
friends
Friday.
have started to notice the changes in you as well. You check your phone constantly for injury updates,
Friday.
and you refer to professional athletes by their first name like you went to high school
Jay
together.
Jettas.
Not only does your week revolve around football, but you've started planning your entire life around the NFL
Okay,
schedule.
yeah.
A
It
wedding
gets
during
worse than this,
football
though?
season is absolutely not going to happen. And don't even think about
gets worse
asking
than
about a
this?
vacation in October. Your calendar from late
That's my
August
birthday,
to
though.
February is now sacred territory. What might be the most telling sign is that you're emotionally invested in games that have nothing to do with you or your favorite team. You're angry about a bad call in the Titans-Colts game. You have very strong
Yeah,
feelings
fuck the
about the
Colts.
NFC South standings. You know what a football move is, and you'll definitely be arguing with strangers that Dez did make a football move and make that catch.
He didn't catch
Football
it.
is well on its way to becoming your entire personality, and there's no going back now. You're about
Okay.
to fall much, much deeper into this rabbit hole. Level 4,
All right.
the film room junkie.
Oh shit.
You've realized that you need an edge. You're not like all these other casual football fans that
Okay.
are out there. You need to know more about the game than your peers, and that's how you're going to separate yourself.
Yeah.
Your browser history now looks like you're studying for some sort of PhD in advanced football mathematics. PFF
What?
grades, DVOA, EPA per play. These are not just random letters anymore. They're your new language. Transcended beyond saying things like, this player is good or this player is bad. Now you're saying things like, actually, his yards after contact per attempt in neutral game scripts suggest regression. And after you
I don't
say
know.
things like that, you're wondering why everyone at the barbecue is slowly backing away from you. What's wrong with them? You're not just watching games anymore, you're analyzing them. You're rewinding plays to see if that guard pulled
We're
correctly.
not doing that.
You're angry
No, we
about
don't- we
route
don't- we don't
concepts that
rewind.
don't make sense for the down and distance.
we watch
and you
red
now
zone.
have very strong opinions about defensive schemes that you learned from YouTube videos made by unemployed former equipment managers.
Okay.
You know all the intricacies of match coverage, the vulnerabilities of Tampa 2, and why quarters coverage is getting exposed by modern offenses. You're screaming things at the TV like, that's a smash concept. How did they not see that coming? While your girlfriend sits there and wonders where you learned this new language. Your social media feed is nothing but football analysts, beat
that's
reporters,
deep
and
into it. That's
statistical
deep.
breakdowns. You follow people who tweet things like the Cowboys are 7-2 when Dak's passer rating is over 95.3. And you genuinely find that
That's
interesting.
nerd.
Your friends and family have been getting increasingly concerned because you're bringing up things like regression to the mean at dinner. And maybe their concern is actually right, because it does kind of seem like things are taking an unhealthy turn. But trust me, it's only going to get worse.
What?
Level 5, the degenerate.
What is this?
This is where things start to get a little dark.
Oh,
You decided
no.
that you were going to put all of that football knowledge that you accumulated in past levels to good use. You're going to use it to make money. You've got multiple fantasy leagues, each with
Yeah.
buy-ins that seemed
5.
pretty reasonable at the time. You're in a big money dynasty league that requires year-round
Dynasty's
attention.
fun.
You're setting DFS lineups every Sunday, and you're convinced that this Sunday will be the one that you win big. And
Yeah.
we cannot forget that you've got sports betting apps sending you
Okay, yeah.
deposit match bonuses
I have all
that
that.
feel like free money, but
So
somehow
how's it
never
deep-
are.
how's it
Despite all the
bad?
film study and all of the advanced stats, you're still chasing that high
Yeah.
from that parlay that you hit that one time. You
Yeah.
know, the one that you tell everybody about, $10 bet that you turned into $850. What you don't
Yeah.
tell everybody is that you lost $8,500 trying to repeat it. You somehow feel like the degenerate math in your head makes sense. If I just hit this 11-team parlay, I'll finally be back to even. The fact that you even need to get back to even should be the warning sign that you need to stop,
yeah.
but for whatever reason, it's become motivation. Every loss isn't a failure, it's just getting you closer to that next big win. That's exactly how probability works, right? Things have gotten so bad that you've convinced yourself that you're out getting involved in the community.
How
But
did he
really,
get
what
there,
getting
though?
involved in the community
How
actually
these people
means
just show up
is that you
into
head
his
to the
house?
local middle school games because you think
How
it's
did they
going to
just
give you an
slide that
early
in
scouting
there?
head start on the rookie class of 2035, which you also somehow
Bro.
think is going to give you an edge in your big money dynasty league. Rock bottom just keeps getting lower. First, you were just betting with your entertainment budget. Then it was the savings account. Now it's devolved into you wondering if you really need both of your kidneys. If you're watching this video and have
Probably
never
not.
reached this level, I would highly advise that you try to skip past this level of addiction completely. Level 6, the old head.
Old head.
I want to be really clear here. This is the old head level, but it's not reserved for people who are old. This is just the level that you develop old head mentality. Maybe it was the pain of your team's 5th straight losing season in a row. Maybe it
that's
was
horrible.
watching the refs gift wrap another game to that one quarterback who you hate, who must not be named. Or maybe it's all that money you lost in level 5. Whatever it was,
Yeah, I
you've
did.
developed a hatred for everything about the modern NFL, despite the fact that you watch every single game. The game is
I do.
soft, the players are pampered, and back in your day, which was like 5 years ago, Football was football. You spend the majority of your Sundays complaining about things that are going on in the game now. Every flag that you see is proof that the league is rigged. Every rule change is ruining the sport. And you've said that the NFL is becoming flag football at least 47 times this season. Maybe best of all, you've become some sort of referee conspiracy theorist. If we look through your camera roll, you have screenshots saved of holding calls that were never called.
Nah.
And you've taken it upon yourself to use those screenshots on Twitter to break down how the NFL is scripted for ratings. Roger Goodell is your personal enemy number one. Your spine quivers anytime his name is mentioned, and you're fully convinced that he has it out for your team specifically. You complain about player safety while simultaneously complaining that players get injured too much.
He
You
got
want hitting,
smacked.
but not too much hitting. You also
This is
want
sealed in.
offense, but not too much offense. Your friends won't even watch football games with you now because all you do is spend 3 hours explaining why everything sucks, all while never looking away from
That's
the screen.
enjoyable.
You've kind of just become the football equivalent of the bitter ex who can't stop talking about their former relationship. And you're now trapped in a toxic relationship with an organization that does not care if you live or die. Level 7, the lifer.
The lifer. Uh-oh.
This isn't enlightenment, it's not transcendence, it's just acceptance. You stop getting angry when your team loses, not because you don't care, you care more than ever, but it's because you finally understand something very important. It was never about winning or losing in the first
Okay.
place because you were going to watch anyways. The wins don't make
Yeah.
you as happy as they used to, the losses don't hurt as much, and
Yeah.
you've achieved a different kind of high. The
Yeah.
pure, uncut addiction to football itself. You
Okay.
watch every single game with the same dedication, whether your team's 13-1 or 1-13.
Okay.
Draft picks, rebuilding years, blown calls, none of it matters anymore
No.
because you finally understand the truth. You're not watching for success or failure. You're watching
You're
because
not.
Sunday without football literally isn't Sunday. You've also infected other people with your addiction and they just accept it. Your kids know that daddy just doesn't exist on Sundays. Your spouse has either
Damn.
joined you or just accepted their status as a
Now
football
they gotta
widow.
join you
And
though.
of course, if you have kids, you've created a new generation of future addicts, passing
You
down
have
your
to.
team allegiance like a family heirloom. All of the
Pop
big
Warner.
events in your life are somehow measured in football seasons.
They got
Someone
to.
brings up the year 2019 and you just say, that was the year that we went 4-12. Or you might say, oh, you had a baby in January? That was during our playoff run. You can remember every
That's
starting
sad.
quarterback
That's
that your
sad.
team's had for the past 20 years, but somehow you end up forgetting your own anniversary. You're
Ooh.
at peace being a hopeless football addict because what else would you even be? This is who you are now, a lifer. And honestly, you wouldn't have it any other way. Welcome to the final level where winning and losing don't matter anymore. Only football matters. You'll be here forever, watching every snap, and you finally stop pretending otherwise. And yeah, that's the 7 levels.
Did I just join a cult? Am I in a cult now?